That was Bitcoin Blues by Marcus at Burn Recording, an original composition created for Smaulgld.com. Bitcoin today was down over 200 points, so that song is dedicated to Bitcoin. Now, welcome to Smaulgld's Perth Mint Gold Sales Update for the year 2016 and also for the month of December 2016. Perth Mint Gold sales surged in the final 4 months and ended the year up 14% over last year, 2015. Gold sales at the Perth Mint were over 500,000 ounces, 520,295 ounces, up from the 457,132 ounces sold last year. But the story of the Perth Mint this year was the final 4 months of the year, during which the Perth Mint sold over 50,000 ounces each and every month for the last 4 months of the year. Gold sales in the Perth Mint in December were 63,420 ounces. That was up almost 60% from December 2015 sales of 40,096 ounces. Part of the reason for the surge in sales at the Perth Mint was this particular gentleman, the 2017 Rooster. It's a year of the Rooster in the lunar year, and the Perth Mint sold out of those. They are still available at dealers, available on Smaulgld through the site, but the Perth Mint has sold out of this particular coin. They also come in 1/10 ounce coins. They sell for about the same price as American Gold Eagles. However, they are a 0.999 gold versus the American Gold Eagle, which is 0.9167. Now, Perth Mint sales, like U.S. Mint sales of gold, were up this year, and it's a trend I predicted back last summer that as we entered the fall, we'd probably start to see higher gold sales relative to silver. Well, I was not only right, but kind of surprised at how correct I was, because silver sales kind of fell and gold sales continued to rise during the year, and the U.S. Mint ended up selling 30% more American Gold Eagles in 2016, and they also ended up selling the most amount of gold at the U.S. Mint since 2010. So the U.S. Mint ended up selling 1.2 million ounces of gold, of which I think 867,000 were in the form of the American Gold Eagle coin. But let's take a look at the Perth Mint. You could see Perth Mint sales are horrific following Brexit. I guess the disaster didn't happen and people figured they didn't need gold, and you can see they had some of the lowest months I think ever at the Perth Mint, and then boom, they made up for lost time. September, October, November, December, they had the highest sales that they've had in a long time. This 79,000 is one of the best months ever at the Perth Mint, and I don't think they've ever put together a string of 4 months of, at least from the data I have, 4 months of over 50,000 ounces per month. As I mentioned, you can purchase Perth Mint coins through the Smaulgld site. You can check out a variety of dealers, compare prices and shipping, and you pay no more, no less than if you went to the websites directly, and Smaulgld makes a small commission. And that is how I fund the site, that and donations via PayPal and Bitcoin. So if you're interested in buying gold, please do so, or check out the offers on the Smaulgld site. And it's not an invitation or advice to buy gold or silver, but if you're going to buy it, I'm not going to convince you not to. And if you're going to buy it and you've made the right decision, or you made the decision to purchase gold, please do so through the Smaulgld site. Now let's take a look at another chart here. See, this is the 3-year chart, 2014 to 2016. Here you can see clearly the 50,000 ounce line, and it's rare that they do it more than 2 months in a row. Normally in the October-November period is when sales kind of spike, but you can see here this year in 2016, after these poor summer months, boom, you had the big uptick in gold sales. There's another way you can buy the 1/10 ounce Australian Kangaroo gold coin from Money Metals Exchange. You can also buy from BGASC, JM Bullion through Smaulgld. Now, the silver to gold sales ratio, this is the trend I talked about at the top of the podcast. Over the last 5 years, we had been seeing an increasing trend towards more dollars going into silver than gold on a relative basis. And at one point at the U.S. Mint, they were selling over 100 times American Silver Eagles to American gold eagles. That dropped down to about 45, 46 to 1 this year, and mostly on the strength of sales at the end of the year of gold at the US Mint. We saw the same trend at the end of the year of gold at the Perth Mint, also driving the gold to gold sales ratio down. Now in 2015, the Perth Mint, their sales ratio was 25 ounces of silver to 1, and part of that had to do with the massive increase in the Australian silver kangaroo, which drove it higher. It used to be the Perth Mint used to have a much lower silver to gold sales ratio, as they were primarily a gold dealership more than a silver one, and the Australian silver kangaroo that came out at the end of 2015 really boosted their profile as a silver seller as well. But this year, the silver to gold sales ratio, even at the Perth Mint, went down from 25.76 to 1 last year to 23.51 to 1 in 2016. But that I've put together here the last few months. You can see at the Perth Mint, even though the annual was 23.5 to 1 silver to gold sales ratio, in October it was 13 to 1. In November it was 17 to 1, and in December it was only 6.62 to 1, and that's a result of the surging gold sales and the declining silver sales, or the steady silver sales, that drove that silver to gold sales ratio down. It is a trend. It's now easily identified as a trend the last 6 months, as silver sales have fallen and gold sales have risen. I expect that trend to continue in January. We'll see what happens when the US Mint releases its numbers for January, although January numbers are probably not the best indicator, although they do get, because the dealers, the authorized purchasers, tend to over order in January just to make sure they've got enough inventory on hand of the new 2017 coins. But we'll see what they decide in their professional judgment to order, based on, they usually base it on the prior few months sales, and we'll see if the trend of a lower silver to gold sales ratio continues in 2017. Now, as the gold silver ratio still is clinging stubbornly over 70 to 1. Today, I think it's January 5th, it's at 71 to 1. Both gold and silver have risen today, but gold slightly higher. The gold silver ratio has come down from a peak of 84 to 1 early last year. This year it opened around 70. It's up around 70, 71. So keep an eye on that. As gold and silver rise, generally silver rises at a faster pace than gold, but not always. And of course, there's different periods of time where one will leapfrog the other, but we'll see what happens. But currently it's at 71 to 1. And that about does it for today. Tomorrow I will have probably the Chinese gold reserves. We'll see if they are adding gold, continuing to, the People's Bank of China, if they're continuing to add gold to reserves. They added no gold to reserves in November. Probably also have tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the next day, the Perth Mint annual 2016 silver sales. Thanks for listening, and please subscribe to this channel and to Smaulgld.com. You do that by going to the Smaulgld website and filling in your email address. Also, if you're interested in purchasing gold, you can also click on the links below this podcast. Thank you very much.